So let's recite. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the sublime, the victorious, the totally self-enlightened one. Okay, so today we are going to talk about Rūpa, metta. That's the beginning of chapter 6. And so everyone ready to start? Yeah, okay, good. All right. Okay, so first, Rūpa, it is defined as something that which changes when coming into contact with adverse conditions such as cold, heat, hunger, thirst, insect bites, or etc. So previously, when we first study chapter 1, we have introduced a little bit about mind and metta. At that time, we have also seen this a little bit. So what is meant by Rūpa, metta? Is something that changes according to when it meet different conditions. When it say like ice, when it becomes hotter, then it becomes water, and it becomes even hotter, becomes steam. So something that changes. He also said insect bites, etc. So something also like our body, like when there is like an insect bite, it changes. It becomes like red, or it gets little bumpy and something like that. This is what is meant by Rūpa. But now we have to also understand that changes here doesn't mean that something becomes something else. As we know that like mind, one consciousness, one chitta does not become another chitta, right? So one metta, material property, in the same way, it also does not become another material property. But because of these different conditions, some other material property take the place of the older material property, and then it arises there. So that kind of changes is meant by change, is what we meant by change here. And also, then we may say that if we say something that changed, mind also change, and it changes even quicker than metta. Then why we don't call chitta Rūpa in that case? Now, changes here also means obvious change. Some changes that are discernible, they're easily noticed. Say the mind changed so quickly, normally we are not aware that the mind is changing, right? But for metta, it's easy to see something very obvious. So let's say with temperature, the fruits, it changes in color. So very obviously we can see those changes. So this is what is defined as Rūpa or metta according to the Abhidhamma. Now, in the Abhidhamma Sangaha, what the Buddha explained that material properties are divided into 28 types. So there are 28 types of material property there. Now, you remember when we studied about mind, about chitta, we understand that chitta does not arise alone. It arises together with some cetasikas together, yeah? So they arise as a group, arise together, stay together, and then it passed away together. So in the same way, material property also do not arise alone. So it's not like 28 kinds of material property, each arise in a different time and differently. Also not like that. They also have combinations, like groups. So in this case, now we are going to name the 28 types of material properties, and later on we will see their combination. So we will see what types of material properties arise together, in what circumstances, how, what are the causes, etc. But now we have to understand that when we study this, it is a little bit like the chitta and cetasika, although we are separating them into different kinds because they have their own characteristic, but we have to understand that they arise together as a group. Yeah. Okay. So now material properties, there are 28 kinds. And with these 28 kinds, with different combinations, that all the material properties that we know in this world are made up of the combination of these 28 types. So what are they? Now, it is separated first into two big groups. The first group is called Mahabhuta. In English, it is usually translated as the great essential or the element matter. And then there is another group that is called Upada Rūpa, translated as dependent matter. So let's go and have a look at the great essentials, the Mahabhuta first. Okay, so the Mahabhuta are four. That's the earth, water, fire, and air element. These four basic or great element or element matter are the basis of all other material properties. So depending on these four, all other material properties exist or arise. Therefore, they are called the great element. And so they are kind of like in terms of the Chitta and Chittasika, they are like the universals. So any kind of material property always consists these four material property, the four Mahabhuta, the great essentials, plus some other kinds of material property. So these four always arise together. Now let's look at them one by one. These four Mahabhuta, essential elements or element matters, and sometimes also called primary elements, are earth, Patavi, water, Abo, fire, Tejo, and air, Vayo. So among these four types of Mahabhuta, they are sometimes called Dadu also. So Patavi Dadu, Avo Dadu, Tejo Dadu, Vayo Dadu. This Dadu, this Pali word means element. So earth element, water element, fire element, air element. So we have to understand that here, earth element does not actually means earth. No, it doesn't mean like soil or earth, like those kind, or water element is not water itself. No, it's just it has the characteristic of that. So it's water element, fire element, and air element, but not actually fire or actually air. Now we will go into details of each one of them. Until here, we good? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's look at the first one, earth element, Patavi. So what is meant by earth element, Patavi actually, Patavi Dadu? Now, earth element is the quality that is inherent in the earth. So we can find this quality, especially in earth. So what is it? It's the hardness and softness of things. So whatever we take, any kind of material property, even our own hands or something, we can when we can feel, no, we can know the hardness or the softness, no. So this hardness and softness is actually the quality of Patavi Dadu, of earth element. Okay, so earth element can be found in everywhere and in every kind of material thing because it's one of the primary element, right? So it's in everything. Even in water and in the air or in other things, earth element exists because it's the quality, not earth itself, right? Okay, now the earth, say the earth itself or the land is the basis for trees and mountains and so on to exist, no? So therefore, Patavi Dadu is also the basis for other dependent material properties to arise because it serves like as a support or foundation for the coexisting material property. Therefore, it is called earth element. Just like the earth support mountains, support trees, support living beings. In that way, earth element support all other kinds of material property that arise together. So that's hardness and softness is its quality. That's earth element, Patavi Dadu. Now let's go to Abo, water element. Now water element has the quality. Yes?
Kunga, how are you, darling?
Oh, someone said something? Oh, Claudia. Oh, okay. I think it was, yeah, okay. Right. So water element has the quality that is inherent in water, which is cohesion. So water elements bind things together. It is the quality that support or that hold other material properties together. Now, water element is that which keeps material property together. So when we say water element, it does not mean water itself, as I have said. And another interesting thing about water element is that actually water element cannot be touched. water element, because it is cohesion, right? So it is only a quality. Say when we make bread, we have some flour. So flour are separated. They are separated. No? So if we add some water to the flour and then we knead it, then all the flour stick together, right? So that's the quality of holding things together. That's cohesion. That's the quality of abodadu, no? Water element. So in the same way, we can understand that cohesion is not something that can be touched by the hand. Of course, we can touch water, yeah? You can say it, we can touch water. But actually, we cannot touch water element. When we touch water, what do we feel? We feel the hardness or softness of the water. We feel the temperature of the water, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, and we can feel the motion, the movement of the air element. Of the water. But the cohesion quality itself is said to be not recognizable by touching, by kaya vinyana. No? So body consciousness cannot understand, cannot know water element. So whatever we touch is actually a combination of earth, fire, and air, what can be touched, right? Okay. So interesting that we have always touched water. We take shower, we swim, we do so many things, but we have never, and it is not possible to touch water element actually. So it's just a cohesion quality. Okay. Now let's go to fire element. Dadu. Now, the quality that is inherent in fire is what is heat or temperature, right? So, tejo, dadu, in the same way, does not mean fire itself, but it means the quality of heat or temperature. And so what does it do? Fire, tejo, it matures or ripen other material properties. Because of heat element, things gets ripened, it gets mature, and so this is the quality of fire element. Okay, now how about air? Wayodadu. The quality that is inherent in air is movement or motion or pressure. So air, again, air element is not air itself, but is something that is inherent, the quality that is inherent in air, and it is said to be the principle of motion or pressure. Now, it has the characteristic of distension. So expand and distend. So those are the quality or characteristic of air element. Say, for example, when we put some air into the balloon extends, right? So it grows and then it has a pressure and so on. And so that extension or distension is what we call wayodadu. It has the nature of movement or motion. So when something moves, we can say that there is abundance or a lot of wind element, therefore something moves, all right? Right? Okay, so that's about air element. And because there are a lot of, here is something interesting and for us to also ponder or think about. Because of abundance of wayo dadu, we say there is movement, no? So the expansion and distension, but actually nothing moves. I say it again. Then we say something move, right? But actually nothing really moves. When we say something moves or movements, it's actually material property appears in one place and then it disappears, and in another little distance away, a totally new set of material property arises. And then it disappears there, and in another little distance away, another set of similar material property arise again. So that is actually in ultimate reality what is actually happening. So say we say this hand, it moves from here to here, but the hand that is here is different from the hand that is here, is different from the hand that is here, different from the hand that is here, and from here, and from here, and from here, actually, in ultimate reality. Because Rūpa also has lifespan, no? So it arises, and then it does not exist for so long until it arises in the next place, right? So it arises here, and then another totally different set of material property arise in another place. So we said that it moved, but actually, in ultimate reality, nothing moves. No, it's just new material property arise. Yes, Delawa?
And we compare that to the frames per second when we talk about technical things like when there's a lot of frames, you have
Mhm.
a smooth video. So is it similar?
Exactly. So when we say we walk from one place to another place, it is something like this. It's actually all still, right? So we see that this little drawing is waving his hands, but it's just we all know it's one page, one page. We all played this game when we were small, right? So it's just still image, still image, still image. Just like in a movie, we take a lot of picture and put them together in the same way. It works. But imagine and now we say 4K videos and how many K videos. So much resolution that when we see it in the screen, we almost feel like it's real. But imagine really this body or in this real life moving is much more resolution, let's say. So therefore, we believe that we are here and we believe that we don't change and we believe that this is me. Yesterday, this was me. Today is me. Tomorrow is also me. This I know. So, but in ultimate reality, it is not the same. Otherwise, if nothing changed, if material property does not change, we'll still be the baby as when we were born. We'll never become some like change, no material property change, right? Yes, Austin.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand when you say you cannot touch the water element because of cohesion, but you can feel cohesion. And so similarly for the air element, for example, like to use the same example, you cannot touch pressure, but you can feel pressure. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, what's the difference? Because even in the air element, it's just the feeling of pressure, and in the water element, it's the feeling of cohesion. You're not actually touching something.
Mm. Now
What
it
is
is
the
said,
difference?
yeah, yes, please continue.
No, that's the question.
Okay, yes. Now, first, let's look at water element, right? We can know the cohesion. We can know something binds together. We can know something hold together. But it is said in the Abhidhamma that water element, abo dadu, we're not talking about water itself, we're talking about water element, yeah? So water element can only be understood by the mind. But with the body sensation, with the touch itself, I am well now later on in the next section we are going to look at this the other types of material property, which one of them are like let's say taste and what we can see and sound, etc. Those are also material property. Now for the body touch what we can touch is only earth element, water element, and fire element. The cohesion, like we can feel something sticky or whatever, that is not cohesion itself. Because the stickiness, let's say, stickiness is that whatever we can feel, we can touch, is still the earth and water and fire. It's still just a combination of that. Because cohesion is something that is not to be taken by touch. It can only be understood by the mind that things are bind together. So, for example, let's say the eye cannot smell anything, no? Eye cannot smell because it is not its object, right? So eye can only see visible object. Yeah. So each sense has its own object that it can see. Say smell, we cannot smell color. If we close our eyes and I give you something to smell, you cannot tell what color it is, right? Or we cannot hear taste because it is not the object of that sense. Now, for touch, for body sense, whatever can be touched according to the Abhidhamma is only earth, water, and fire. Earth, fire, and air element. It can be known by the body sense. So cohesion itself, it's more like not something to be touched, but something to be understood, like things are being held together. That quality we are talking about, not the stickiness or the cohesion. I mean the stickiness itself, but the quality of it. Now about air element, we can know, we can feel because what can be touched by body consciousness is earth, fire, and air. Yeah? So when we can feel the pressure or the wind or the movement, it can be known also. It is possible, but cohesion that it's not an idea, but that quality right? The quality can only be known by the mind, according to the Buddha's teaching.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Edith?
I understand what you said, and I know that this quality of the water element, but I'm wondering what is the experience when we are feeling our saliva, for example, or tears?
Mm-hmm. Now, as I just said, water element is not water. Yeah. So in water or in our tear or in the saliva or even if we drink water, that is a combination of, now I have already said that any kind of material property that exist consists at least, or not at least, but definitely these four types of primary element, right? So in water, in our saliva or in our tears, in our drinking water, earth element is also there. Fire element is also there. Air element is also there. Water element is what holds them together, right? Because water element is not water itself. And of course, there are other material properties as well. Later on, we will when we see the combination, then we know what it is made of, how many. So actually, whatever kind of material property, the minimum, smallest unit of material property is of 8 kind of material properties, a combination of 8 kind. Yeah. So water element is its function is to hold these 8 things together. So it's quality. But what we feel, actually, what we can feel is the earth element in terms of its hardness and softness. We can know that it's the earth element that we can feel. Or the temperature. When we feel our saliva, it can be warm, it can be usually warm, yeah? So, or when we drink water, it can be cold water, it can be hot water. And so what we feel is the earth element about softness or hardness, and fire element about temperature, and its movement, its air element. So cohesion is only what holds the material property together, but not water itself. Is that clear?
Yes, I guess my question wasn't that clear. So I meant in my mouth the stickiness of the saliva and things like that, not the other types of properties.
Yeah. So stickiness itself is not cohesion. Cohesion is only the quality that holds material properties together. So don't think that it is something that is sticky. Something that is sticky is not cohesion itself. The quality that holds material property together, if there is no abor dadu, no water element, even something that we think is dry, this water bottle, it's for me like a general concept understanding. This totally dry, yeah. It's not wet. There is no stickiness in here, but water element is here. What is this water element? It holds all other material properties together. If not, they will all fall apart. Yeah, so without water element, all other material properties that is here together cannot stay together. It cannot be one thing. It will just all fall apart. So that quality of holding things together is what is called abodadu, but not water itself. Not something sticky, not water, not something wet, not something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yes, Luis?
Yeah, I guess I had a question about can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, about the cohesion or the water element, because I guess just to touch on it, I was just wondering, or I guess more of a note, if it's kind of like the example you just gave about the sticky note, like where the cartoon where like the stick figure is moving. I wonder if like that's the reason why we can't see the water element, because it's really something that I don't know. I was just wondering, maybe it's something that's only an ultimate reality and we're not able
Right.
to like actually see it, but we can extrapolate on it or think about it. But it's I guess it's just the ultimate reality is made like that. So we can't it just doesn't go with reality in a sense.
Yes, water element, of course, in ultimate reality exists, and its function is to, as I just said, hold all other elements together, no? Because remember that the smallest unit of material property that exists made up of 8 types of material property. So 4 Mahabhuta, the 4 primary elements, earth, water, fire, air element must always be there, plus another 4 types of material property. Then they make a unit, yeah? So that unit is called kalapa. That's the smallest unit, according to the Buddha's teaching, the smallest unit of material property. And they are called the inseparable, right? So this is the smallest unit of material property. Now we are talking about them separately because they have different quality, different characteristics. So we want to understand their quality. Therefore, we are explaining them like according to the differences, no? But remember, earth element never arise alone. Water element never arise alone. Fire element never arise alone. So when it arises, minimum 8 of these things arise together. So what hold these 8 things together? Water element. But it does not mean that this thing is wet or this thing
Right.
is sticky.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I guess it's because I guess that also clarifies, just to touch on that, like I guess it clarifies the point of how the material keeps arising, right? From moment to moment. Like it arises and yeah, like you normally perceive it as I almost think about it as like the water, like that line that you said where like you think it's real and it's not, the body or the hand isn't moving, but it's just yeah, like I often think of that as like, you know, conceptually of the water element. But I guess when you take it away, it just makes me think more of like the differences or think more of its presence. But yeah, thank you. I understand.
Thank you. Yes, remember when we study Abhidhamma, we always looking at things in the through like more like through the microscope, no? We are not seeing the thing like how we see it usually. If we see even like a piece of have you done that before? Like you draw a line with a pencil, and then you put it under the microscope. The line on the paper is actually not a straight line. I mean, it's like dot, 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 dot. They are not joined together. But when we look at the paper, it's like a straight line. It's just, they are all stick together. But when we look at it at the microscope, we see only dot, dot, dot. We don't see, they are not together. So in the same way, when we see with our eyes, this reality, we cannot see that much, like that far. So if we have to understand that we are studying these elements in a much more deeper level, in the ultimate reality level, no? So therefore we have to understand in that level this kind of characteristics or the quality of things. Yes, yes, Sanda.
Yeah, so you said about there is no movement. And going on that idea, there is actually no change as well in terms of if everything appears based on a set of condition, what changes is those conditions that support whatever appears. So in that sense, there is no an actual change, like there is no movement.
Exactly. So therefore, when in the first few slides, when I mentioned that changes, the change here, it means like a set of a totally new set of very similar material property arise and take place of the older one. Because the older one, when it arises, before it can change into anything else, actually it does not change. It already passed away, yeah? It already disappeared. And then another set of, say, very similar material property arise and took its place, right? And then say a mosquito now bite this material property, let's say my hand. Then later on, because of that, then another set of a little bit different material property arise. It looked still similar, but now it's red and it's now bumpy, or it took its place, right? Then those also passed away, and then another set of material property arise and passes away in a very, very quick time, no? Like we all know, like science say that our the cell in our body, it is always changing, right? It's always arises and then it passes and then new ones takes its place. So in the same way, it is like that. The only difference here is material property. Well, now remember, chitta, consciousness, arise only one at a time. One arise, passed away, another one arise, pass away, another one arise, pass away. There is no like 5 or 100 chitta arising at the same time together, no, for a single, let's say a being. Yeah, so one after the other in great speed, no, great speed. But the difference for material property is that a big group of material property can arise together at the same time. And they exist for some time and then they passed away. And then another group of material property arise and then they pass away. And also because they arise one after, I mean, when before this one all die, another type of material property can arise, no? So there are always some kind of material properties is changing, and it's a lot at the same time. Therefore, we see mass, no? This whole big mass of body, this whole big mass of something, no? Because a lot of material properties arise, they can arise together. So that's the difference between mind and matter also. Is that clear? Yeah, like I saw Edith's chat there. It says overlap. Yeah. So material property can arise and before this pass away, some other can arise. So they can overlap at some point, right? So they keep like arise, then some other arise, and then this one pass away, this one still exists, another one arises, and then like that. Later on, in the, I think maybe next week or so, I have some graphic also with that, and I think it will be more clear. Okay, so meanwhile, until here, we are good. But exactly like Sanda said, they actually do not change. What we mean by changes is some very similar property arises and takes its place. Okay, so let's go back to the primary elements. So we know now we have the 4 types of primary elements. So matter are found, matter is the hardness and softness of thing. And it is it supports, you know, what it does is that it supports, it's the basis for all other material properties to arise. So that's earth element. The quality of earth element. Now, water element is what keep things together. So it's the characteristic of cohesion. And then Tejo, fire element, is the temperature of things. And it also have the quality of like maturing the material property and so on. And then for Vayo, air element, its quality is movement or extension. Yeah. So that's the 4 primary element. So it does the support of all other elements, hold them together, maintain them. 5 elements maintain them, and air element makes them extension or movement or distension. Yeah. Okay, so that's about the 4 great elements. Okay. Now, these 4, yes, Austin?
Sorry, just one maybe minor point about the water element. You said that it's a ultimate reality, but it cannot be known by the mind, or it cannot be experienced by the
It can be
mind.
known by the mind. It can
The
only,
cohe-
it's subtle matter. It cannot be known by touch, but it can be known by the mind. Like the mind can understand that things are held together. There's water element,
Right,
the mind can know.
right. That's what I was trying to ask. Okay, so it can be known. That's, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I got confused there. I thought that you mentioned that it cannot be experienced, but so that okay, that clarifies. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Yes, it cannot be experienced by touch, but it can be experienced by the mind. Mind can understand that, can know that. Okay. All right. So the 4, these 4 primary elements, are the basis of all other material properties that depends on these 4 other elements to arise. No? So this 4 is the basis, and depending on these 4, other materials properties arise. So that's the other material properties are called upada rupa because of that. So these 4 are the basis. Now, all other elements are called, now we have 28 types of different material properties, right? So 4 of them are called Mahabhuta. So the other 24 types are Upada Rupa, dependent matter. Now, if you see the Abhidhamata Sangaha or some other translations, sometimes you may find this word that is called derivative matter. Sometimes it is translated as this way. But Sayadaw Usilananda Vivamsa, he does not prefer this word because he said that this kind of Upada Rupa metta does not actually derive from the Mahabhuta. They only depend on them, but they are not caused by them. Just like an example that he gives is like a house. People live in the house, right? So the existence of the people living here, living there is supported by the house. Yeah. The house support the people who lives there. So the people depend upon this house to live. Yeah. But the people are not the result of the house, right? Does that make sense? So in the same way, the house or the 4 Mahabhuta, they are the support of other material properties. But other material properties are not the result of the 4 Mahabhuta. They only depend on it to arise. It's just like the house that supports the people that lives inside. In the same way, the 4 material primary elements support other material property to arise, but it does not cause them to arise, right? So therefore, Sayadaw said that he much prefer the word dependent matter, and he does not prefer the word derivative matter because it does not actually come from there. Yeah. Okay. So we have 4 Mahabhuta and 24 kinds of Upada Rupa. Okay, so let's go to everybody energy, okay? Should we go to continue to look at the other types of material property. Now, sorry. Now, among the 24 types of dependent matter, it is also classified into different groups. So depending on what it does, the function of it or the characteristic of it, it is divided into different groups. And the first group is called Pasada Rupa, sensitive matter. Well, this is going to be easy to understand because we all have it. And this Pasada, this Pali word actually means clear. So the material property that are clear are called Pasada Rupa. Now here clear, it means it is sensitive to sight, to sound, to smell, to taste, and touch. In that way, it is called Pasada or clear. Yeah. So that means actually means sensitive matter. So our eye sensitivity, ear sensitivity, nose sensitivity, tongue sensitivity, and body sensitivity are also some types of material property, right? So this group, these 5 of them are called Pasada Rupa, sensitive matter. Now, we will go into them one by one with a little bit more detail, but in order to introduce this group, we will also introduce the next group, which is very related to this group, and then we will explain them together, okay? Now, the second group is called Gochara Rupa, which means sense object. So Gochara, this word, Pali word, means domain, like a place where one roams about, where one stay around, no? Now here, in brief, it means an object that is taken by the sensitive matter. So corresponding to the 5 sensitivity, then we have 5 objects now, 5 sense objects: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. So they are like a set, right? So eye sensitivity take visible object, ear sensitivity take sound, nose sensitivity take smell, tongue sensitivity take taste, and touch, body sensitivity take tangible object. Yeah. So each sense has its correspondent sense object here. So it's like a pair. Okay. So now here, how many types of sensitive matter? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it has 5 kinds of correspondent object here. Yeah. So now we will go into the sensitive matter to see a little bit more detail about the first group. So eye sensitivity. Now, eye sensitivity is not the whole eyeball itself, actually. It's not the whole physical eye. But it is said that eye sensitivity in Pali is called chaku pasada, pasada rupa, right? The clear material property. No? So chaku is eye sensitivity. It is said that it is located in the eyeball, somewhere close to the retina. So if we see this is like a physical eyeball, so here the retina, if we make it bigger, so this kind of material property exists somewhere on the retina. Those small particles there that are sensitive to the light, sensitive to the sight, what is called chaku pasada, eye sensitivity here. So not the whole eye, not the whole physical eye, yeah? Because someone can have an eyeball, but they cannot see, right? It is possible, yeah? Someone that loses sight, it is possible that they still have the eye, physical eye, but it is not possible to see. That's in that case, the eye sensitivity might not be working well. So those are the material property, small material property that exists there. Okay, now, as we know, we need eye sensitivity, chaku pasada, and a visible object. And then we also need light. And with the contact of that, eye consciousness arises, right? Only if there is eye sensitivity, there is something that we can see, and then we have the light, and then there is contact, then eye consciousness arises. So that's how the Rūpa and mind and matter, how they are related to each other. So say there is a visible object, but if our eye sensitivity is not good, it's not working, or we don't have eye sensitivity, then we also cannot see, eye consciousness also cannot arise. So eye consciousness depend on eye sensitivity as a space for it to arise, right? Okay, now we need eye sensitivity, and we also need another material property, and that's the visible object. What eye consciousness can actually see, yeah? Now, Rūpa, visible object is also called Rūpa. So it's the same word as matter, no? Now, when we see Nama, Rūpa, mind and matter, that's the same word. So we have to understand that in Abhidhamma, when we see the word Rūpa, it means minimum, these two meanings. Rūpa meaning mind and matter. Whatever is not matter, it's not mind, is matter. No, that Rūpa, what we have just explained, that comes into changes when it meets with adverse condition, that Rūpa. But here, visible object is also called Rūpa here. So when we see this word, we have to separate and understand that what, according to context, what this Rūpa means. No, now Rūpa means visible object here. Although in this flower, if we look at this flower, there are something that can be seen, right? There's this color, and there's this visible material property, visible quality that can be seen. But at the same time, there are also smell, there is also taste. If we eat the flower, there's some taste is there, yeah? If we smell the flower, there is smell. So we can also touch the flower, right? But here, Rūpa means only the visible quality or visible property, material property of this flower. Although the other property also exists, but they are not to be known by the eye, yeah? Right? Make sense? Okay, so the visible matter that exists in this flower is called Rūpa here, visible object. Because material property, they does not arise alone, yeah? So visible matter cannot arise alone. It must have earth element, water element, air element, what else? What did I say? Earth, water, temperature, right? Heat, fire element, and air element, minimum, the 4 material property. And plus, now, if it is a visible object, then visible matter also must be there for something to be able to be seen. right? So this is another material property that is with, say, this flower, okay? Now, can Rūpa be seen by the mind? Yes, for example, well, no, material visible matter is only to be seen by the eye. The mind cannot take present visible object as object. Of course, mind in terms of eye consciousness, yes. Everything is to be taken by the mind, or actually we make it this way. Say, eye consciousness is also part of the mind. So this eye consciousness take only visible object, but eye consciousness cannot take sound, let's say. Now, other type of mind, how about Javana? If I remember something from yesterday, the flower that I saw yesterday, that's also visible matter. That is also possible, not only through the eye consciousness, but through the mind. But this is not a present visible object, it's a past visible object. And the mind is remembering it, the seeing in the mind. Like I close the eyes and I see my mother, let's say. So that visible object that exists in my mother's face, let's say, those are past visible object that I remember how she looks, no? So that's seen by the mind, it's possible. Yes, Lelawa?
I'm not sure if it's a dumb question, but do all Rupas, all four of them, do all objects have all four of them?
All four
Like,
of these four?
yes,
Four?
they can all be seen, smelled, heard,
Okay,
tasted.
now, yeah, be a little bit patient. When we go to the 8 inseparable, then you will know what is there. Yeah,
Okay,
let's
okay.
introduce them, all kind what exists first, and then we see what must always be there and what sometimes yes, what sometimes no. Okay? All right, we will be there. Okay, so let's continue a little bit. Now we know if it is a visible object, then of course visible matter is always there. Yes, Claudia?
Sorry, just a quick question. So basically, you saying that we can see the flower in this case just because the flower have a property of four the four elements, correct? So water, fire, earth, and air. This is the reason why.
No, the reason that we can see this flower is because it has visible matter. So this material, this visible matter is called in Pali also called Rūpa. So it's a little bit confusing, I understand. But that is like something that is visible to the eye. It's also a kind of material property. Sometimes we also say, like Eddie said, color. So in Pali, it's called wana. Sometimes it's called Rūpa, sometimes it's called wana. So it's something that is that the eye can see. So because of this material property, we can see it. Not because of the earth element and water element. Earth element can only be known by touch, hardness and softness. The eye cannot know hard or soft. No, if we see something, we can imagine it's hard or soft, but actually to touch it, to touch it, we know the temperature, only to touch it, we know the softness and hardness and the movement, yeah? So that is to be known by body consciousness, but by eye consciousness, whatever we can see is because it has the visible matter is there, therefore we can see.
Okay, I didn't understand very well, but I will understand maybe later.
Yeah, I think the confusion here is the word Rūpa. Because Rūpa, if you take it as a material property, the whole thing, then it's not easy to understand. But here, as I mentioned, the Rūpa, this Pali word has at least two meanings. Sometimes, depending on context, it means matter. But here, in this context, it means visible object, visible material property. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Mila.
Just wanted to clarify, and here Lewis commented, I think she meant if it can be in the mind. So I'll clarify my question. So when you said that there cannot be seeing unless there's a visible object, so my question was, I mean, I was thinking if it's in the mind, is that also seeing or is it a different kind of seeing? Because you said that it cannot be called, it cannot happen without Rūpa, basically the sense object, right?
Yes. Now, if it is a present object, that means that this Rūpa exists at this present moment. Then what take this object is I consciousness, right? Now, I consciousness is the mind as well. Yeah. So
it's the same basically. Like a visible actual object right here, like a pen, or if I close my eyes and I imagine a pen, so it's the same thing. This is Rūpa, and the what I see in the mind is also Rūpa, like the object.
Yes, but then it's a little bit different in terms, if we are talking about very subtle differences, there is a difference. Because let's say the pen is here. If I'm looking at it, I'm seeing it, it's because the Rūpa exists at this present moment. It's present Rūpa, no? It exists, and I'm looking at it. Then the I consciousness is taking this as an object. Now, when I see this pen, then I close my eyes, I do not see the present visible object anymore because I is not looking at it. So no I consciousness at that time. So at that time, some other different types of consciousness remember the pen, how it looked. So that is also Rūpa, but it is not the present Rūpa. It is a past. I remember how it looked. No, so those material property in ultimate reality does not exist anymore. It already passed away. A new set of pen material property arise there. No, so if we are talking about ultimate reality, it's a different pen. So what I remember, that Rūpa is a past visible object. It's not the present visible object. Yeah, does that
I
make
understand,
sense?
but it's still basically the same principle of seeing.
Yeah,
right?
different types of consciousness takes different kinds of object. So present visible object can only be taken by I consciousness. Because the I is to see what we are looking at right now. Yeah. But if we see through the mind, let's say, then that seeing or that remembering, let's say, or imagination, those are not present visible object.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Claudia?
So we can see that mind and matter process is only available when it's present. So not with the memories, not with the future, not with past and not with future, correct?
Present object.
At the moment that you see or you smell or you touch.
At the present, you mean like the at the present moment?
When you see something or when you smell something. This is the only moment where there is this interaction between mind and matter. I don't know, I just ask.
Whether it is the only moment that is interaction. Not exactly, because mind and matter, it is one type of relationship, object relation. When we study Patana, then there is this object condition also. Then we will study that in the conditionality. I mean the 24 conditions. Object condition is one condition for I consciousness, say I consciousness to arise, but it's not all the interaction between mind and matter. Because some other matter support mind to arise, and there are some other types that, and some matter are produced by mind itself. Let's say when we are very shy, and then our cheek become red, or like and those, or when we are very hot, then sweat come out. Like those are also those are different type of matter depending on the mind. Also, then the matter also it becomes different, right? Let's say when we get angry, then we feel like the stomach is like very tight like that. So that's because of anger, no? Because of the mind, because of dosa chitta, no? Dosa mula chitta, no? So those are, there are some material properties produced by the mind as well. In this chapter, we will look at all those things. So later it will become more clear when we go into more details with this chapter. Okay? All right. Okay. So here, see, now, when we see something, what we can see, I mean, what I consciousness can take is the present visible matter of that flower, no? So what we usually see, we say we see this flower, right? But all the time, no? When we see a flower, we say, I see a flower, right? But actually, in ultimate reality, if you think a little bit more, flower, it's only a concept. In ultimate reality, a flower does not exist. Yes, it's a lot of material property that is combined in this manner, in this way, and we call it flower. But if we take it apart, let's say the petal, and then the I don't know exactly all the names of the parts of the flower, but anyway, so if we take it apart, then there is no flower at all. That we cannot call the petal a flower, we cannot call the stem a flower, and so the combination of this thing, this material property, is we call it a flower, and flower is only a concept. Yeah, in ultimate reality, what I said, I saw a flower. What I actually saw was just only the visible matter, actually. That was that is visible to the eye, no? That's only that. Yes. So now instead of most of the day, we are like we lived like that when we are not contemplating. Instead of being so sure about what we perceived, of course, I see him. Of course, I see this flower. Of course, I see this and that and that. Actually, maybe we can try to ponder about how things really are in ultimate reality, no? So it is not always as we see, as we think, how the concept is. So many times we pay attention to the concept instead of ultimate reality. So just as a side note and as a reminder also to myself, Sayadaw Tejaniya, my meditation teacher, he always says that defilements focus on concept and wisdom focus on reality. Now, it does not mean that I have to go about my daily life and seeing, oh, there is nothing, there's only metta. Like it's not. This doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that we have to do that way. But wisdom understand the concept as well as the reality. It understands both. So wisdom does not deny the concept because it knows that it exists as well. It knows, like, and it is necessary for our daily life. Otherwise, we cannot say that I saw a flower. I cannot say that I saw a bunch of visible object. Then other people will not understand what we're talking about, right? So wisdom understand both concept. It accept its existence concept. It's useful, but at the same time, it understand it in a deeper level. It understand that it is a flower, yes, but it is also not a flower, and it is what we can see is only material property, no? Yes, yes. Like Eddie just right there, seeing is only seeing. It's not. And then now this seeing is not seeing. What it means that we do not go further than seeing. We know that seeing, eye consciousness arises. There's a visible object, and this is what is happening in ultimate reality. So that is what wisdom focused on ultimate reality. No, there is no I actually. There's only consciousness arise, take the visible object as object because there are conditions. So this eye consciousness arose. Now, why do we say that concept arise based on defilement? Now, if we say it, we think about the flower, about the concept or a person, then there is liking and disliking. Easy. Yeah. This flower, I like it. Oh, I don't like it. I prefer a white one instead of a yellow one. All right. So with concept, then attachment, liking, disliking, all this will arise. So defilements focused on how we think the ultimate, like this concept. Yeah. Now, if we look at it in ultimate reality, in the sense of ultimate reality, if you see, say, this flower, it's just visible material property. Like, is there anything to be attached to some visible quality of something? Not much, yeah. But if we take the concept, oh, this is the person that I like, he's so handsome and like this and that, then because we focus on the concept, then all these defilements arise, no attachment and dosa and moha and everything arise, focusing on concept. But it does not mean that concept is bad. Concept is necessary, and it is there, and it's also part of reality. But just we have to see further more than that. Okay. Let's see, Luis. It says, can seeing be seeing without a visible object? Now it depends, because again, seeing, this word is also a concept, right? So it depends what we meant by seeing. If we take this word seeing in ultimate reality, it can only be, seeing can only happen with eye consciousness, knowing a visible matter. In ultimate reality, that's seeing. But if we use the word as a concept to explain something, we see that we say, oh, we see this in the mind, we see this, we see that. So it depends how we use it. So there's no fixed answer to this question. No, but if we talk about ultimate reality, only eye consciousness sees visible object, like a pair. Eye sensitivity together with a visible object came into contact, eye consciousness arise. That is what is called seeing in ultimate reality. Is that okay, Luis? Okay, a lot of writing today. The flower is considered as a concept because it's impermanent. No. The flower is a concept because in ultimate reality, it does not exist something called a flower. In ultimate reality, all material property is only the 28 types of material property. It's just a combination of this material property, right? What really exists. So say, I'll give an example that is usually used in the sutta. Then they say like ox cart. Everybody know ox cart, yeah? Like those car, let's say, well, modern, I like more than a car. Now, does a car really exist? Something that is ultimately called car. So it does not, right? So if we separate, if we take it apart, we take out the wheel. Is that a car? No, it's not a car. Now, if we take out the door, is that a car? No, that's not a car. If we take out the window, is that a car? No, that's not a car. We take the like driving wheel, is that a car? No, that's not a car. So if you take apart everything, there's no car there. There's nothing that is called a car. But only when we put many things together, a combination of many different things, we call it a car. So ultimately, car does not exist. It's a concept. So in that case, in the same way, a flower is also does not exist because it is a combination of material properties. What really exists are the 28 kind of material properties. Whatever exists in the 8 kind only actually in the flower, not more than that. In the flower, it's only a combination of 8 types of material property. And that is what actually is there in ultimate reality. So flower is something that we call how these material properties are being combined in this shape or in this color or in this way. We call it a flower. No? But if we separate them, there is no flower. Therefore, it is called a concept, and it does not exist in ultimate reality. That's why it's called. But now impermanence, actually, for concept, we cannot say whether it's permanent or impermanent because concept does not really exist. Whatever exists in ultimate reality is impermanent, besides Nibbana, no? Now we'll talk about that later. Except Nibbana, mind and matter, because it's really something that really exists in ultimate reality, and it has the characteristic of impermanence. Because it's always changing. No? It's not something that stayed and does not exist anymore. So only ultimate reality has the characteristic of impermanence, except Nibbana. Nibbana is something different, and we have to talk about this in a different way. Yeah. Is that okay, Claudia? Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so Nibbana will be the ability to experience those material property. Not exactly, because Nibbana is not a mind. Nibbana itself, only mind experience anything. Nibbana is not mind. Nibbana is an ultimate reality that is the object of very, very, very pure mind. Yes, the enlightenment, no? Like the mind that when there is no more defilement, then those kind of maga and phala Remember, the path consciousness and the fruition consciousness arise, right? So those very pure mind take Nibbana, which is an ultimate reality, as its object. So Nibbana is not something that experience something else, but it is something to be experienced by the mind. Only mind experience things. Metta does not experience things. That's why it's Rūpa. That's why it's different from mind. Well, because Rūpa is not capable of cognizing anything. Metta cannot know anything, but it is something to be known by the mind. Yeah? Okay. All right. So I think maybe we should take a break here, 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, we come back and take a look at some other kinds of material property. Okay. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Now, just a little comment on about Nibbana. I think it's clear already that it's an object, but then her comment here says Nibbana will be the ability to experience those material property. I want to mention a little bit about the experience of those material property. Now, actually, these material properties, we are experiencing it all the time. If we are looking at the screen now, if we are seeing the screen, you're seeing kind of my face there, you're seeing like this body leaf, you're seeing something, the screen, the computer, your desk, your anything that is around, whatever we can see is actually material property. I mean, the visible quality of the material property, no? So we are actually experiencing this material property all the time, just that we don't pay attention to that. But instead, because as we said, the mind usually pays attention to concept. Yeah. So for example, Charana is speaking now. Actually, it's only your screen. Material property is only what exists, the visible quality of your screen, of your computer, or of your handphone, or whatever you're using, iPad, anything. Yeah. So that is ultimate reality, but because we pay attention to concept, so we forget to look at ultimate reality. But in ultimate reality, we are experiencing this material property all the time. Now, I also understand what Claudia meant about Nibbana, and so that's because we have to actually, with wisdom, see beyond the concept and to observe and practice. Then with practice, we know what is actually happening. We can actually observe the arising, or we understand with wisdom the arising of, let's say, eye consciousness. As we said, there is eye sensitivity. We can know there is material visible object, and then when this comes into contact, is because of that eye consciousness arise. So when we really understand this through experience, that is when wisdom grow. Yeah. So because of this, looking at things in their ultimate reality through our own experience, that's what leads to wisdom, that leads to attainment of Nibbana. So in a way, I understand why Claudia write like, her comment, but Nibbana is not the ability to see the thing, but with the ability to see those things clearly with experience, that leads to Nibbana. Is that clear, Claudia?
Sorry, just a second. But when you're talking about when we have the ability of experience it, you're talking about understanding. Sorry, you're talking about intellectual understand, or
no, experiential understanding.
We will arrive to the point where you can tell, okay, this is I understand it, right?
Experiential understanding, not intellectual. Yeah.
Right.
So that's meditation, no vipassana meditation, to really understand things in the ultimate reality. Yeah.
All right. I am very curious to know how does it look like to have an experience like this.
Right. So actually, this study, we know that this thing exists intellectually. Now we know. although we are looking at things all the time, or I mean, we are experiencing it all the time, but we do not understand it, yeah? Not yet. So, but we are informed that it is like this, like this, like this. So when we practiced, we have information. So one day, with patience and with practice, with wisdom, then not that we can understand, but wisdom can understand. So wisdom takes those kind of object and it understand it in its ultimate sense. That is in that time, that those wisdom are so powerful that it is able to eradicate our attachment to these things, because we see the ultimate reality of it. Why do we have to be attached to material property that arise and just passed away in the next moment? Doesn't make sense, no? Then when the mind really understand that in the experiential level, then attachment will also be eradicated. And until then we attain nibbana, no? Because of understanding, because of no more wrong view and no more wrong view about this I or me or mine, no? Because things just arise and passed away according to its own process, according to cause and effect. Yeah, that's the practice, the side of practice. Yeah. All right. Okay, so let's go back a little bit to where we were. Okay, so we finished with eye consciousness. Oh, I mean eye sensitivity, sorry. So let's go to Sotapassada, ear sensitivity. So coming on, it's gonna be easy to understand because it's just a pair, the sensitivity that exists and its object, right? Now, ear sensitivity, again, it does not refer to the whole ear, just like the eye, but it is said that it is something that exists inside the ear. It is like in the place, the shape like the fine rain or something, that there are some this kind of hair that feels the movement and of the sound wave. So in that particular area, this ear sensitivity is located. So not the whole ear, but somewhere inside our physical ear exists this ear sensitivity. In the same way, ear sensitivity, we need to have ear sensitivity, and also we need its object, right? And sound is also a material property. So audible object, sound. Yeah? So with space, then this sound come through space and get into contact with the ear sensitivity, and then that's how ear consciousness arises, right? So we have now here two types of material property: ear sensitivity and audible object. So sound is again another type of material property also among the 28 type. Okay. In the same way, for Ghana Pasada, nose sensitivity, again, is not the whole nose, but it is said that it exists in the place, in the sutta, in the scripture, it's written that it looks like the hoof of a goat somewhere in the nose. In that location, those nose sensitivities are located. Now, with nose sensitivity, we also need some object, right? So its object, corresponding object, is smell. So when there is the impingement of smell, they get in contact because of the help of air, then nose sensitivity arises. We can smell something, no? We can smell the whatever, in all kinds of material property, there is a smell. And so we notice or not sometimes, but there is a smell, as pair with no sensitivity. Okay, now let's go to tongue sensitivity, jiva pasada. Tongue sensitivity is said to be located all over the tongue. So not in a particular place, but all over. So the whole tongue can know taste, yeah? I mean, with actually what knows is the mind, yeah? And so tongue consciousness arises because of the contact of the taste and taste that exists in the material property, and the contact with the tongue sensitivity with the help of saliva, then the tongue consciousness arises and we know taste. So here we have two material property. We have tongue sensitivity itself and we have taste also. Now coming to the last sense, we have kaya, pasada, body sensitivity. It is said that body sensitivity exists all over our body except hair and nails and dry skin. So that's why when we cut our hair or cut nails, we don't feel pain, no? Because those places that it doesn't have this body sensitivity, we don't feel pain. And now how it is all infused throughout everywhere in the whole body, it is compared to like a cotton that absorb water. So in the same way, it's everywhere over the body, just like water everywhere in this suffused in the cotton, no? Like that. In that way, it is all over our body. Okay, so now with kaya pasada, with body sensitivity, when we touch something, this tangible object, what can be known by touch sense, is actually only earth element, fire element, and air element, the combination of these three. No? When we touch something, we can know that it's hard or soft, we can know that it's cold or hot, and we can know its extension or its movement. Well, nothing moved, but that expansion and all that. So that is what is actually called tangible object. So whatever can be touched is the combination of these three only. It's not a separate kind of material property, but three of the primary object. Earth element, no? So, but in touching, earth element is also more prominent. It's actually more prominent. If we touch something very hard, we can know. But sometimes we can also touch something that is very soft, say a bubble. If the earth element is too little there, then the touch might not be so evident to our touch, no? Right? So if something is very hot, then we can touch it and we know it. Like some other times when the earth element is not so prominent, then the touch is also soft. So in this way, depending on the earth element, the touch will be different, no? Okay. Now, in this case, now we have the each kind of sensitivity: chaku pasada, sota pasada, gana pasada, jiwa pasada, kaya pasada, with its correspondent object. Rupa or vana, so visible object or color; sada, sound; gana, smell; rasa, taste; potaba, tangible object. Among these five sensitive matter, they are in the group of pasada rupa, no? So sensitive matter is one group. And the next group, which are the object itself, are called gochara rupa, sense object. But we already said that each of these visible matter, sound, smell, taste is actually one, in ultimate reality, one of the 28 kinds of material property itself, one of each. And tangible object is not something apart, but the combination of the three great elements: earth, fire, and air. Okay, so in this case, now in pasada rupa, sensitive matter, we have five material property, and in gochara rupa, actually only four. Yeah, because tangible object is the combination of the four primary element, no, not something separated. Okay, so with this, we have gone through different types of material properties here. Four Mahabhuta, the four great elements. And then in the Upada Rupa, we have seen two groups, five sensitive matter and four sense object for Gochara Rupa. So we have already seen 13 among 28, so almost half of it already. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Now it's 8:25. I think maybe everyone's getting a little bit tired. Do you want to stop here, or do you want to see one or two more different types of material property? What do we do? A little bit more?
A little bit more, yes.
Okay. So let's go to one more group. So 4 and 5 and 4, then we have 13 here. Let's go to the third group of dependent matter. The third group of dependent matter is called bhava rupa, so actually gender matter. So this gender meta is called, in Pali, Pumbawa masculinity and Itibawa femininity. So these two Rūpa, again, remember, we are looking at microscopic meta. Yeah? We're not talking about what we really usually think as like meta, that's a big thing. So this gender meta is not a male organ or female organ, but it is said that it is located all throughout the body of the specific person, or male or female. Now, this gender meta cannot be seen by the eyes. It cannot be seen because it is not a visible meta, no? But it's some kind of material property that exists throughout the body of the person. It's something like a mark or a sign, or the way how male and female, the masculinity and femininity of male and female. Now, for example, it's like the feature of the meta. Say, if I show you these two hands, easily you can tell which hand is a male's hand, which hand is a female hand, right? So because of those gender meta, then their feature look different. So in a female body, all throughout the female body, it has this kind of gender meta. Therefore, the female body or hand looks like this, and the male masculinity, this material property is all over the man's body. That's why the hand looks different than a female one. So it's the body structure, the features, or even the deportment or manner of how male and female move, how they excuse me. So this meta itself is not visible to the eye. Chromosome X and Y, I don't know if it is that. I'm not so familiar with science, whether this X and Y exist only in the DNA or it is everywhere, or I don't know. Or maybe it must have to be something related, because it makes a difference, right? The X and the Y there, like Eddie just wrote, probably something like that, but it's throughout the body and it cannot be seen by the eye. And it's what we can see is the visible meta of the hand, or let's say, but that with that we can understand the structure or the feature, so we can understand this property. This material property. Okay, so that's another two. Let's go to another group. So now we're in the dependent meta. We have 5 sensitive meta, 4 sense object, and 2 gender meta. And let's go to the Hadaya Watu. So heart base. Now, this heart base, what we call Hadaya Watu, is not the physical heart itself. Although, well, now the fourth group, although we say it is a group, but there's only one member in this group. So it's a specific one, the Hadaya Watu. So it is said that it is some material property that exists depending on the blood in the heart. So some material property that exists around the blood that flows through the heart is where this material property is based on, it is said. Now, okay, it is to be found in dependence on the blood inside the heart. Now, you remember that the Hadaya Watu, why is it called a base, right? Now, remember when we studied in chapter 3, the bases, that time, we know that all kinds of chittas, all kinds of mind are supported for human, for beings that have 5 that have the mind and matter. So not only mind being, no, but all the beings that have both mind and matter. Now, for chitta to arise for these beings that have mind and body, consciousness, eye consciousness always have the eye base as its base, no? So eye sensitivity must support in order for eye consciousness to arise. And ear sensitivity must support ear consciousness to arise. In the same way, nose, tongue, and body. And now, heart is also some kind of material property that really exists in our body, somewhere around the heart, the blood in the heart area. And it is actually the base for all other kinds of chittas to arise. So the 6 base, the heart base, serve as a physical support for chitta, other than the 5 senses, to arise. Let's take the eye door mental process as an example. If you remember, now in the eye door mental process, of course, we need a physical eye as the door, and we need some the visible quality, which is the visible matter, Rūpa, or to some visible object to be seen. Then with that, as a support, as a base, Chakupasada, eye consciousness eye sensitivity, material property, support eye consciousness to arise. And all other chitta that is in this mental process, bhavanga, investigating, receiving, investigating, the mind door turning, in this case, Vatavana, and then Javana, Dharamana, and etc. All those that are not the 5 sense consciousness are all supported by this heart material property for them to arise. Okay, until here, all good? Yeah, okay. So, Hadaya Wadu, heart base, is not a physical, it's not the whole physical heart, but a material property that is to be found in dependence on the blood inside the heart, and it is the base for all chittas except the 2 groups of the 5 sense consciousness to arise. So that kind of material property is called heart base or Hadaya Wadu. Now also to mention, yes, Terawa?
Is this why some translations use heart instead of the mind?
I think so, because it supports, they are intimately related to each other, no? Now we are also coming to that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Now heart base, the Buddha, he did not use the heart base, this word exactly. But in the text, the Buddha said independence on a certain type of metta, certain type of material property, chittas, other than the 2 groups of the 5 sense chitta, of course, arise. So the Buddha did not mention heart base. He did not use this word, heart. But according to Sayadaw Silananda's explanation, then he said that during the time of the Buddha, he think that the theory of the heart as a base of consciousness was widely accepted during those time. So the commentators, he took this, the Buddha said a certain type of metta, then the commentator took this word to mean the heart base. Now, why would we say heart? Just like that Awa just said, yeah? The heart. Now, it is very much related to the mind. For example, when we get angry, what happens to the physical heart? It beats really fast, yeah? And sometimes people even can get a heart attack because of anger or because of something, no? So it's very intimately related. And sometimes even in our language, when we are sad, when we are not feeling good, then we also say the heart is very heavy. And we use this kind of expressions. And sometimes we say, oh, this person has a kind heart, he has a good heart, but we all know that we don't mean the physical heart, right? So there is a connection, very obvious connection in the time of the Buddha and even today, about the heart and the mind, about consciousness and the heart itself. So most probably because of that, ancient teachers took that certain type of material property that the Buddha mentioned to meant some property that is related to the heart. So in terms of physically, the teachers, they say that it is not the heart itself, but some material property that runs in the blood in the heart area. So it's something that is in that area. So that's why we feel like when we are happy or not happy, or we feel sad or something, kind of related, because that is the base for those other chittas to arise. So that certain kind of matter is called hadaya wotu or hard-based here. Okay. Hard-based is an ultimate reality. Yes. Here we are only talking about something that really exists. All 28 types of material property. The ones up till now, the ones that we are talking about, they all exist, physically exist. They are all Rūpa, they are all matter, material property. So later on, we will also, among the 28 type, I think next week we'll probably do that. There are some quality of Rūpa that is also included in among the 28 types. So those types are, we can call it, is not actually some material property, but the quality of material property. So there is a group that is like that. But until then, we'll explore. Up till now, until here, all that we have seen are something that really, really exists physically, material property. Oh, so we still have a few minutes. If you have any question concerning what we have seen today, well, we can talk about it. Or if everyone is tired, we can also leave it for next week. So among the 28 types of property, we have seen the four groups of the dependent matter and also the primary element already. So next week, now we are going to look at the other types of material property. And then after that, then we will see the different aspect to it, like the combination, like what Derawa was saying, that does all material properties, which kind of this among these 24 exist in the inseparable and their combinations, etc. Yes, Edith?
So I have experience with a person who had actually a transplant, heart transplant. So I was gonna ask, like, how come there is no significant change, even if the heart is replaced completely by another heart?
I think it's because the material property arise and passes away, no? So it's not something that you are born with and you have it for your whole life and it doesn't change, right? So it's always changing. So even if the person, because now when we study the cost of matter, so which type of material property is caused by what, then we will understand that hard base, hadaya wotu, is only caused by karma. So it is not caused by our nutriment or not caused by, of course, it supports the physical heart, but when we are talking about heart base, this specific kind of element that supports the mind is karma jarupa. It's a material, we can say born by or material caused by karma. Right. So I think this is what I think. If the person have the heart transplant, then he has kind of like another organ. But within that particular place, if all the thing is functioning well, then among that area, then because of karma, then this matter is being produced again in that area to support all their function. No. So say a person, let's say the eye cannot see. Then they get taken operation, then after they can see. Yeah. So what happened there is also then maybe the eye sensitivity at some point, because of something, it doesn't work. But because it is a karma produced material property, if the karma still support this person to see, it's not being destroyed by some other karma or whatever, then after the operation, maybe it's a good karma that the person get an operation, gets good medicine and so on, then this material property have the condition to arise again. That is possible. So in the same way, I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Delawa?
The fire element is used to describe temperature, right? Like heat or fire. So how would you explain cold temperature with that aspect? Because would it be like the absence of fire, or what would be the best explanation?
It will be very little, like fire element is not prominent in that specific property. Like other property are more prominent. But it won't be, it cannot be, does not exist because it's 4 primary elements. So it must be it must be there. So therefore we know the temperature of it.
Okay, so it would be, that would mean it's limitless, like it could always go down, or is there like a limit for temperature?
That is very hard to say because the material property, depending on the surrounding, it changes, right? So material property itself, it is being affected by outer conditions as well, as we say. That's why it is Rūpa, no? For example, let's say this body. This body has also 5 element, no? All these cells or whatever 5 element exist. If I go under the sun and stay there for 5 hours, that will become so hot. Yeah. So because of outside conditions, then this 5 element increased, like it's become more prominent in those new material property that arises. Is affected by the temperature, outside temperature. Yeah. So in that way, it changes. And then if I stay, let's say winter outside, very cold for a long time, then it becomes cold also.
Go to millions and millions of
degrees. Yeah.
Stronger.
Well, we have someone here that knows more science than I do. And then he said that there is something that's called absolute zero for cold. So he said that maybe my absolute zero would be the least possible amount of 5 element if we said that it is like so cold, but 5 elements still exist, yeah, just that it is so weakest, no? But for hot, it seems that it can go like millions and millions of degrees, like the sun burning, I don't know in how many millions of degrees, or I don't know, that around that.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you. All right. Anything else? Yes, Sanda.
I have a Pali question because when we started today, the title of the presentation was Mahabhuta, primary elements. But when we refer to the 4 elements, we refer to them as Dhatu. What is the
Mahabhuta means the Mahabhuta is the, let's say, the how we call the 4 of them, primary elements. Then when we refer
Maha, in my understanding, is referring to the primary or
great or primary or
yeah, and then Buddha will be elements.
No. No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually in Seattle Silananda's book. He also let me just make sure, in order to make sure that I will just open it here. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I'll read what he says. He said Mahabhuta is translated as great essential or primary element or whatever. Sometimes we translate as that, but that is not a literal translation. Mahabhuta means something that becomes great. So Maha is great. Bhuta is like becoming. So something that becomes great. And these 4, they are the basis of all other material properties. So all other material properties depend upon them to arise and to exist. Therefore, they are called the Mahabhutas, like becoming great, because they support other elements. In Pali, if you do direct translation, it's becoming great, not actually property or element or so. Dhatu is translated as element.
Thank you.
Welcome. Edith also wrote something here. 0 Kelvin is defined as absolute 0 is commonly thought as the lowest temperature possible. Yeah. And then Nita said absolute 0 is impossible to reach, can get very close to. Yeah. Minus 273.15. Thank you for the information. Yeah.
We are the science people here.
Yeah,
I think
science
we need
people.
to
We
meet
have
the
science people here.
engineer. And
yeah, great.
I studied physics.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you. And let's close and let's dedicate our effort for the attainment of Nibbana and also share merits with all beings. Okay. So let's recite together. Itam no punyam nibbanasa pachayo hotu. Itam no punyam nibbanasa pachayo hotu. Itam no punyam nibbanasa pachayo hotu. Itam no punyam sabha satanam bhajima. Itam no punyam sabha satanam bhajima. Itam no punyam sabha satanam bhajima. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.